Radhe Radhe Hare Krishna to all the dear friends and listeners. Welcome to another English practice video. Today I would again want to share something that has been always there in my mind since I was a child, and this is one thing that has been there into minds of I think each one of us. If not all, then I think a maximum or 95 or 98% of people must have this question either right now also or sometimes in past, and the question is, does God really exist? So do you have the answer? What do you think? Does God really exist? So different people have different opinions about it, and one interesting thing that I would want to say is that either good are those people who have 100% faith and trust on God, and they believe that yes, God do exist. I think their life is quite sorted. Then there are people who do not at all believe, like they believe that no, there is nothing like God, and they believe it with all their whatever, 100% they believe this. So I think their life is also quite sorted. Now the problem is there with people who are confused, like they do not have total trust and faith on the existence of God, but they are doubtful that probably God exists, and sometimes they think that maybe God exists. Other times they think that what if God does not exist? Now this brings us to the problem of existence and life, and I think this dilemma is the main issue, and that causes suffering. So either you believe completely or you do not believe. If you would like stay in middle, then the problem arises, because when you will have sufferings, then you will not be having the faith system that is needed to calm you or to relieve you, because you will be confused about. So when you will be having suffering, then you would be not sure if God is there or not, if God will take care or not, either now or sometimes in future. In that case, if you totally believe that God does not exist, then also the suffering will not harm you so much, because then you will have to trust on yourself. So these kind of people, I think they are called atheist. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Atheist, I think that's the right word. These are the non-believers in God. So if they come across the sufferings, then they have their own a support system, because they totally do not believe in God, and they just figure it out what they have to do during this pain and suffering and all. But the problem only arises with the people who are just in the middle, who are neither the total non-believers, nor total believers. Well, so this was the thing, and I'm sure you understood what I wanted to tell. Now the another thing is that let us uh, let us discuss about the various logics and opinions that the both sides of people have. Let us first of all talk about people who believe that God does not exist, and I would say that such people are really less in number, but yes, they do exist, and they believe no, there is nothing like God. And so what they have to say, they say that they give the logics of this science and all, that since you cannot see something, then how do you believe it? Why do you believe it just on the basis of something because it makes you feel good, or just because you have not answers to some questions, so you have made this an assumption that God must be existing? So this is what the logical breed of people that believe that no, since I have not experienced, since I have not seen, so I would not agree that God exists, because what they believe is that unless you have not seen something, you have not experienced, or with your senses that are given, I think 5 or 6 senses, so how should we just believe that God exists? So this is what their point of view is. And if you ask them that how does it going, how is it everything going, and this whole universe or earth or human bodies or all the living things and plants, so they would rather answer with these scientific explanations, which of course are very hollow, I would say, because if you keep on asking and if you want to reach to the root of the origin, they have no answer. And all these theories of existence of universe or the birth of universe, big bang theory and all, I totally find, to be honest, in my opinion, I don't at all find them convincing and total nonsense, that there was an explosion and then the universe came into existence and everything started happening on its own, right? But now what my question to these people is that, see, everything has to have some beginning, you know. So how, where does the beginning happen? Or everything which starts has to have some starting material, and there has to be something that leads to another thing. That is what we see. You see any kind of creation, then there is a raw material for that creation, then only the creator is also there and the raw material is also there. So these people who do not believe in God, they do not have any answer for that. Now come to the point of view of people who believe in God, and their explanation or their logics, I think, are very sensible, and I would believe, because they simply say, if there is a creation, there must be some creator. One of the example I was watching on some media was that a person was telling that if you see the web of if you see some web or web of a spider at some corner of your room, then since the web is there, so the creator must also be there, and the creator is a spider. So similarly, if you see this whole universe, if you see yourself, if you see earth and everything, so creation is there, then creator must be there. And the second logic that they give is that the universe and the earth and all living beings are existing according to some rules and protocols. There's force of gravity, there is life and death, there are some rules of physics that apply to all the material things, then there are rules of biology and chemistry. So these are the rules, right? And the believers of God say that if the rules exist, then the someone who has decided the rule must also exist, because if we think about our own rules and protocols and law system, then if we follow as a society, if we follow some rules, then of course those rules are being written by someone or some group of people, and then only they can function and come into, what to say, I'm not getting the word, come into that's how those rules become functional, because somebody has implemented them and made them. So similarly, the rules and these laws of nature, they are quite evident and visible, so they must be made by someone, and who that someone would be. So that is what they assume, that there is one creator, and he or she has created all the laws, and that is how the system is working. And another thing that they tell is that, as an answer to the question of these atheists or non-believers of God, that if God is there, why you cannot see or find him? So what they say, that God is beyond his own creation. Like there is a book and you read the book, but of course there is an author also, because the author has written the book, but you don't find the author inside the book, right? Because you only find his creation, his or her creation. So similarly, you don't see the God inside the world or with your visible or with your senses, because God is beyond these senses and God is beyond this creation that you see, because since God is the creator, he or she is beyond it. So you will not find him or her inside the world. Of course you can feel him as God, him or her. I'm always telling both the gender, because even this is a very questionable thing, whether God is male or female, because if you go to the scriptures, then you will find that God is neither male or female. Well, this is a very in-depth thing that could be discussed. So this was today's practice, and I think about something interesting to talk about, and I need an interesting thing to keep on talking also, because I do not prepare. So I try to revise those thoughts that keep coming to my mind. So thank you for listening, and I hope that you found some practice. Take care. Radhe Radhe. Hare Krishna.